Okay. It's recording.
Yeah, it's recording.
Erev Tov, everyone. So, as you all know, this Shabbat we will read the Shirat Hayam, the great song that Moshe and Klal Yisrael sang at Yam Suf upon the delivery of the Jewish people from the army of Paro and from Mitzrayim. So in the Torah it says, Oz Yoshir Moshe Ubnei Yisrael es Hashira Hazos. The Medrash looks at the word Oz as the key to understanding this entire process. It could say Vayoshar Moshe. Moshe saying, why Oz? So there are different opinions that the Medrash says, but the Medrash seems to be of the opinion that all of these ideas are necessary, and they are all implied in this two-letter word, Oz. So the first idea is that Shira is spontaneous. Oz, at that moment, when Mitzrayim is Meisel Svar Sayom, the moment of exhilaration, then you're capable of Shira. If you think about it, and you want to write a Shira a week later or a month later, so even though the incident itself is still miraculous, very rarely are you able to do so because you don't have that moment of inspiration, that moment of recognition as to what happened. All of us great artists know that. There's a moment that you understand something and you're impelled to do it. You know, in the middle of the night, you think, oh, this is a good sentence. You go to the computer and write it. So the first idea of Oz is that it's instantaneous, it's spontaneous. It's the flash that happens to you. And that is always in Chazal a message from the soul and not a message from the mind. If you think about it, so then that's not the same song. And we need no greater proof of that than the fact that we recite this song 365 days a year. And, you know, it's part of davening. We're not especially moved by it because we're talking about something that happened thousands of years ago. It's beyond our ken of experience. It's not our emotion. It's rather a memory, a remembrance. But that's not the spontaneity that creates Shira. So that's one idea of Oz that the Medrash says. It's the simple idea. Then the Medrash continues This is all the Medrash Rabbah on the Parsha. The Medrash says that Oz represents emunah, faith. And wherever you see Oz, there has to be present the idea of emunah, of faith. Klal Yisrael at Yam Suf went into the Yam on the basis of faith. And on the basis of faith, they were saved. Because I'll tell us, we all know the famous Medrash about Nachshon ben Aminadav, that he went into the water up to his neck before the waters began to part. If he believed in God, so then the charity of God can come upon a person or a nation, and they can be saved in a situation. But without emunah, so that would not happen. And then the Medrash says a third thing, a second thing rather, a third thing, that these are all requirements for Shira. So the first requirement that it be spontaneous, the second that it be of faith. So the third one is it has to be besimcha. The Oz Yomru Bagoyim, right? There has to be with a sense of joy. And Chazal call that simcha shel mitzvah, the joy of the fact that we are performing a positive act. And Chazal say in Ashchina Shora that none of the prophets could have had the gift of prophecy if they were not besimcha, if they were depressed. So that also has to be present. So Oz refers to simcha also. Oz yemolei scholpinu u'shomenu rino. And then the fourth idea that the Medrash says here is bitachon. There's a difference between emunah and bitachon. Emunah is that I believe that everything is from the Ribono Shel Olam. Bitachon is I believe that everything is for the good. Kol mai de'ovid rachmona l'ta'avod. Trust. So we all know in human relationships, we can have emunah in a person, but I don't give him over my checkbook. I don't make him my trustee. Bitachon is that I'm so sure of the person that I give it to him. I have no doubt that he will not take advantage of me. So we have here four ideas that the Medrash, that Chazal put into the word Oz, that this becomes the basis for Shira. If these are present, so then there can be Shira. That's why it says Oz Yoshir Moshe. Now we're going to have also in the Haftorah Shiraz Dvorah. We have in the Novi Shmuel and in Tehillim the Shira of David HaMelech, the Haftorah for Hazinu. But there it doesn't say Oz. So that's like they thought about it. It's a different type of Shira than the spontaneous Shira. So the Medrash points out here a very interesting thing. Moshe Rabbeinu complained to the Ribono Shel Olam Kaviyachol. in the Parsha in Shmot and in Vayera. He said, "Umeyoz bosi el paro heira lo mazeh." Got worse. It didn't get better. And you did not save your people. And the Rebbeinu Shalom, we know the response in the beginning of Vayera. It's not like Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. But the Medrash says, the Rebbeinu Shalom answered him, Umei Oz, you said from Oz, you didn't have Oz. If you would have had Emunah, and if you would be B'simcha, and if you would have Bitachon, you wouldn't have complained to me. You would have had an extra modicum of patience. But you're impatient. It doesn't happen now. It doesn't happen instantaneously. It doesn't happen the way you wanted it to happen. So that's why it says, Umei Oz. You extracted the Oz from it. And therefore, I have to say that you're not the Ovos. Because the Ovos had all of these qualities within them. That they reacted to me instantaneously. That they had Emunah, B'Avraham Avinu, B'Emin B'Hashem, Yitzchak, Yaakov. They taught us the lesson that the Shekhinah is not Shoreh unless a person is B'Simcha. When Yaakov was depressed over Yosef, so the Shekhinah departed from him. But there's no room for Shira. The Gemara says an interesting thing that in Chutz La'aretz, it's a different brand of simcha than exists in Eretz Yisrael. That's why it says, Oz Yamalei Schok Pinu Shoneinu Rina. So when Yaakov came down to Mitzrayim, the Shekhinah returned to him. But the Mefarshim say it did not return with the intensity that he had it in Eretz Yisrael. Because he was not able to, even though he's reunited with his son Yosef, and even though the whole family now is at peace, and even though they're living in Goshen, and even though the market is up, everything is good, it's not that measure of simcha. And if it's not that measure of simcha, then it's not that measure of Ruach HaKodesh, of revelation, of the Shekhinah that he had when he was in Beit El, when he saw the great dream of Sulam Mutzav Arza of Rosh Magia Shemoim. So Chazal concentrated on every word and every letter in the Torah, because within it are all of the lessons of life, and therefore the Shira should have special meaning for us because it carries all of these other messages with it that are certainly germane to our life and to how we should see things as well. Rabbi Chananya ben Akash Omer Ratzah Kodesh Baruch Hu L'Zakos Yisrael L'Fichal Chirbo Lahem Torah Mitzvot Shenemar Adonai Chavayt Saman Tzidko Yavdil Torah V'Yadir.